Patch. I'm Dad.
And I'm Gus.
And where's Tommy?
Where'd
he go? I think he got eaten by animatronics. Tommy is letting us do this review because this is a game that Gus and I decided we were going to play together, and that game is Five Nights at Freddy's Survive Till 6 a.m. This is from Funko Games, and it's a recreation of the popular jump scare video game. Right?
It was very dark.
It's very scary. It's got a very dark story, and we're not going to do any spoilers, even though everybody in the world probably knows what's going on in it. But the game is you're a security guard in the Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, and the animatronics come to life. So they have 4 animatronics that will come to life, and they're trying to kill you. So the way you play the game is much like the way you play the video game, where you're looking at security cameras throughout the night, and when you see something that scares you, you try to close the door. Right? So you close the door to keep the bad guy, the bad monsters from sneaking in. And you close doors and do things in the game with power. And if you ever run out, you start at 100%, and certain things will take that down, including closing doors and certain cards that might get revealed. If you ever get down to 0, you lose, because all of the animatronics can jump in and eat you up, right? Especially Foxy. And if an animatronic ever makes it to the office, and we'll explain how that goes in a second, then you also lose. So it's important to have power so you can close the door, so you can prevent the evil, mean, terrible, awful, scary animatronics from getting to your office. This is a 1 or 2 player game. We've set it up for a 2 player game. The actual setup's right here on the board. So you take the camera monitor cards, right? Which some of them actually are just empty spaces, which is cool. And you place them in the piles here, and then you shuffle the animatronics into the last 3 spaces. Now, different cards are going to do different things as you reveal them. So you start at midnight, and each turn represents a half an hour at the night, and you're trying to get to 6 a.m. so that you can survive the night and go home and find another job.
Yes.
Right? So when you start the game, you turn over the top card of each of your 4 stacks of camera cards, and there are different effects on them. This one is what I showed earlier, and it's just an empty space. That's a good thing, because that means there's no monsters trying to get into your office. So you can ignore that card. You can also react to cards that do different things. This card moves the card under it 3 spaces towards the office, which if there's a monster here, it goes right to the office and would be revealed as a monster. So the cards that move cards towards the office are cards that you might want to react to. What was that, right? There's another kind of card in here that, where'd it go? That when you reveal this card, it's got these little down arrow things, you then reveal the next card underneath it. And then that's the card that you may or may not react to. And then there's the last kind of card, other than the monsters. What is it, Gus? The power card.
Yeah.
The power depletion?
Power depletion.
What does the power depletion do?
Hold on, let me find it.
Actually says right on the card when you're doing it. So, you find one?
Yes.
All right, let's show that.
This is a power depletion card.
Power depletion. Oh. So you can't do anything about this. When one of these cards is revealed, you take your power wheel and you subtract 5% from it.
And we haven't talked about the power wheel yet.
We talked about it a little. When it gets to 0, you lose the game.
But it works like this. Like it's kind of hard to turn it.
Yeah, it's a little spinny wheel, right? I think I had to put these together when they arrived. There's a standard thing.
His is a little more stiff. Mine isn't.
Yeah.
Mine's super.
Yeah. So each player gets a power wheel. When it goes to 0, you lose your power. If you choose to, say, ignore the card that's here, then that effect takes place. So if I ignored this move card 3 spaces over, 1, 2, and it gets to the office, turns over. If it happens to be an animatronic, you lose, right? So when you react to the cards, you can choose to react to 0, 1, or 2. And what happens when you react to a card?
You roll either 1 or 2 dice depending on the card you choose.
If you react to one card, you roll 1 dice. If you react to 2 cards, you roll 2 dice. And the cards have numbers on them. The numbers are 0 with a blank.
We're sorry, not cards.
I'm sorry, dice. You're absolutely right. I don't know why I said that. They have 0, 5, or 10. And that represents how much power you used to shut the door.
Or
so
check
each,
the cameras.
so we do this. We check the So this happens at the same time. We're turning these cards over at the same time. Then we resolve their effects, starting here and moving to the right. And if ever one of these monsters shows up right here at the hallway outside the office, I have to react to that because I will lose automatically. If a monster shows up down here and you don't react to it, it just gets turned over and shuffled into the next nearest pile. So when we played, we forgot to turn the sound on for the first part of it, so the recording for the playthrough starts at about, I think, turn 2, maybe 3.
And I think it was actually like more 12.
It's like 12:30 or 1. Yeah, it's like turn 2. But that's it. Each turn, you turn over cards, and if you survive, then you advance the clock to the next time.
And as you guys know, when you get to 6 a.m., you win.
As soon as you get to 6 a.m., you're done. You don't have to. You've survived the night. If you don't get to 6 a.m. and you run out of power, or an animatronic is revealed in the office, you lose. And that's it. It's a really simple game.
There's one, like, a singular bad thing about this game that isn't about the mechanics at all.
Oh, what is it?
You don't really get any certain reward when you get to 6 a.m. because in the game you get a little nice tone.
Are you kidding me? You collapsed on the couch was your reward. You were so excited that you won.
Because that was the first time.
I think that was the first time that we won.
If you're an MLG pro at this game, then it's not really that rewarding.
Yeah, well, it's a fun game. It's a quick game, and it is a good game for 2 players. There is a solo mode. It plays exactly the same. You just are playing it by yourself, you against the card deck, and that's it. There's 4 animatronics that you have to keep track of while you're playing.
By the way, it folds in like this.
Yeah, it's a great little board. It's a very simple board. There's a lot of real estate here that you don't really use on the board because all you're doing is keeping track of your cards.
Real estate.
Yeah, place on the board. But it I think accurately sort of reflects the game as much as it can as a card game.
Yeah.
I like this game. What was your so you said what was your favorite part of the game?
Probably the fact that the mechanics are very, very similar to the actual video game.
Yeah, there's a lot of tension when you turn those cards over, right? That's surprising for a card game.
It really makes it feel like you're actually playing the game in animatronics, or like right in front of your door, and you're like, close the door!
Close the door, absolutely. So I think that is my favorite part as well because it gives a good sense of tension. I like the clock mechanic here to keep track of the turns, right? So you always know what time it is. So that's cool. I think we missed turning it over, so we accidentally advanced a turn, or didn't advance a turn, and suffered through a second half hour, but that's okay. So I think that's the thing you want to keep track of when you're playing it, is make sure that you turn over the time clocks. And also, when you reveal the cards, you need to resolve those effects in a particular order, right? So making sure that you're paying attention to what the card says you're supposed to do. That said, we both survived the night, but just barely. I was at 5% power.
Yeah, literally just barely.
Just barely, which is, I think, the way it's meant to be played, right? You're supposed to get right down to the wire, and you may or may not win, unless you're really lucky. We have played this a couple of times, and I think there's a little bit of luck in the cards and the dice. So if you get a bunch of really terrible rolls, right? If you get a bunch of really terrible rolls where you react to 2 cards and then you roll a bunch of 10s, you'll end up with no power and you'll run out of power. So there's a little bit of luck, and that's my least favorite part, is the little bit of luck.
And all times we played in this game before this time, we lost.
Yeah, we have not. I don't think we've won it all. All right.
Except for now.
So that's we've talked about what we liked. We talked about what we didn't like. Anything else before we close up?
Subscribe.
Well, no, we're not ready to say that yet because we have to actually give it a rating.
I think it deserves 3.
Okay, you think it's a 3? You think it's a 3? I think Tommy liked it, but I don't think he loved it. So I'm going to go ahead and give it 2 for him. I'm going to give it a 2. I think it's a really solid game.
So I got how many?
3 plus 2
Plus 2
is. Come on. 7.
7.
7.
So we've got 7 cabbages.
Got 7 cabbages. I like the components. I like the cards. I like the I like the tension. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2. It's a great, fun, simple, easy to understand, easy to play. Really sort of faithful to the game or to the video game. And yeah, so I think 7 cabbages is a pretty solid game.
It doesn't stray too far from the actual game.
Enough of the scare, none of the terrible story. I'm sorry, the it's not a terrible story, but it's not a good story. It's not a
child friendly story.
It's not a child friendly story, and that's it. All right. Do you want to
subscribe,
do the outro?
Yeah.
Okay.
Subscribe, like, hit that bell, Dad.
I eat plenty of cabbages.
No. You gotta say leave a comment.
I gotta say.
You gotta say what Tommy says.
You eat plenty of cabbages is what he usually says, isn't it?
He says leave a comment if you like.
Oh, leave a comment if you like. We have been getting a couple comments.
Eat plenty of cabbages, not us though.
And that's it. So that's Gus. It's your first review all by yourself with me, and we'll see you next time.